Jinx would stand on a rooftop, overlooking the museum and the activity taking place down below. Despite getting out of her sticky situation with the help of the bat, she was still left in quite a conundrum. What she had come for, what she needed to help complete her little operation, had been taken away. A cell phone, to be more specific, the chip inside of the phone, was needed for her to get the schematics for the vault to Arkham City. It was originally gifted to her by her clientele, the one whom hired her for her skills in the first place. Following the raid on the Shiei Hasaikai, Jinx chose to leave the League of Villains. Of course, she only originally joined for the opportunity to get a decent score. You see, Jinx was the child of a single mother. A mother who, in her younger years, didn't walk on the right side of the tracks. No, instead, Jinx's mother, who was the original Jinx herself, lived a life of crime, the fast life. But when you have a child, things change. Your priorities change. And while she wanted to do the right thing, being a hero was just never really her calling. But it's hard to find work when you are a former super criminal, when you have a record, a history, no one trusts you, it's hard to find employment, and every now and again you find yourself slipping back into your bad habits. And almost as if karma were punishing her for the life she'd lived, Jinx's mother became grief-stricken with an illness. It was hard to describe. It wasn't that it was incurable, it was just that the cost of treating it was rather difficult. A difficulty that fell on Jinx's shoulders at such a young age. As for Jinx herself, how did she feel about heroes? Did she want to be one? Sometimes, but in the end, like her mother, it wasn't something that was all that appealing. Crime, while not morally right, it was the most effective way of getting what you wanted. And besides, Jinx thought of herself being different from the average criminal. She had a code, what she believed in. She never believed in killing, taking a life, maiming the innocent. Just steal what you came for and get out of there. That was the motto. When she ran into Toga, they started a friendship. Both girls feeling like outsiders, needing to protect themselves from the world. Eventually, they found themselves linking up with the League of Villains. But slowly, Jinx started to see that what the League stood for and what she stood for were two entirely different things. But by then, it was too late. Unfortunately enough, Toga learned way too much about Jinx, and by extension, so did Shigaraki. He never flat out said it, at least not all the time, but he didn't take well to desertion, betrayal. And having a sickly mother who couldn't defend herself, well, it only made her situation even more compromised. But in the midst of the raid on the Shiei Hasaikai, with the final battle with All Might, Batman, and All for One, with all the craziness that was taking place, Jinx decided to slip into the shadows, believing that with all of Shigaraki and everyone else's attentions focused on the bigger and grander things, no one would pay mind to little old Jinx and what she was getting up to. But what has she done since she left the League? Well, she took up side gigs, any sort of work that she could get. She wasn't a criminal, but she decided that if she was going to steal from anyone, why not criminals? After all, they were already bad. Justifying it, she was just stealing from one bad guy who had already committed a crime. She'd leave the criminals, the cops, the heroes. They could bring in the bad guys, but the stolen goods, well, she'd make sure she took her cut. Her work was nice, so much so that it earned the attention of Selina Kyle. Selina was infamous in her day as a criminal herself. Her quirk was called Cat, which, as you might guess, just gave her the standard abilities of a cat, although she wasn't like any of those anthropomorphic type of quirk beings. No cat-like features or anything, although she could grow her claws out whenever she needed. Her fanged teeth could be rather sharp, her keen sense of smell, and her astute eyesight and agility. It made her quite an adversary to the Bat in his prime. But Selina had decided to retire. Living that lifestyle, it had its wear and tear. But she always kept her ear to the ground whenever there was a score that could be made. And she had a habit of using her newly acquired wealth to hire those who could work on her behalf. And that's how she came across Jinx. The reason why was because she had gotten wind of whatever was going on in Arkham City. All those criminals, they had to have some wealth or possession, and chances are, just as she guessed, Strange was going to keep all of that loot hidden away. Of course, she would have gone herself, but she was rusty, out of practice, having been retired for so long, and well, it was cheaper and easier to send someone else to go and do it for her. She'd make sure that they were compensated handsomely, and after hearing Jinx's story, she wanted to give the girl a chance. Of course, for Jinx, someone betrayed her. To be more specific, it was Strange. When he found Jinx was snooping about through Arkham City, well, he put a hit on her head. And he had the perfect guinea pig, Two-Face. She found herself in the ires of the Two-Face gang, and that's what led to her needing to be rescued by Deku. But now she was on her own, and unfortunately, the phone that she needed, given to her by Miss Kyle that had all the information, it was a fake. It meant that even though she'd gotten away, Two-Face kept a real one, probably on his person. Ever since Penguin had been defeated, and his crew had been all but forced to the underground or slaughtered outright, it meant that now the new territories within Arkham City were starting to be overrun by Two-Face's men, and he was taking up inside of the museum, using it as his stronghold. The cops that had been rescued earlier decided to move their operations over to the church, believing that it was better to fortify with all the other innocent civilians in the area as well, along with the other doctors and officers trying to help out. The church had effectively become their beacon of hope, their last stand during the trying nights, and the museum was abandoned to Two-Face's men. For Jinx, in order to get to the vault, she was going to need that phone, and it meant she'd have to break into the museum. During all of this, she couldn't help but recall a conversation that she had with Miss Kyle before she went on her mission. "Do you know what the greatest power in the world is, my dear?" Selina would ask as she poured the both of them a cup of tea. "What, some form of super strength? Mind manipulation? Some ability that lets you control the world?" You could say that. After all, quirks do come in all shapes and sizes. But no, the real power in this world is money. They say that money is the root of all evil, Jinx would say. Perhaps, but when you have something that's valuable, something that someone wants, that is true power, my darling. Money is the current form of status. But let's say you're in the desert, What's the form of currency there? Food, water, especially water. Having just one bottle of water, maybe even something as simple as a cup of water, it could mean the difference between life and death. And sometimes that's life only for a few more precious minutes. When you learn to find what's valuable and you get your hands on it, whether it be money, water, resources, even information, those who have their hands on what's valuable control the world. So what are you after, Mr. Kyle? Are you trying to control the world? My world, to be specific. You see, I have a propensity for the finer things in life, and I like to buy my security. This world is getting crazier and crazier by the day, and honestly, I know I can't keep up with it like I used to. So I've been building myself a little savings fund, if you catch my drift. And this Arkham City, it's a gold mine. And what makes you say that? I can't give you the full details, but I know friends in high places. And from what I've been told, a maximum security prison, a super prison made from an old prefecture, guarding 3 to almost 5,000 criminals. Where do you think all of the loot that they stolen go? You think it's just given back to the people that is burned or shelved away? No, it's kept for themselves. And I have reason to believe that there's a vault in Arkham City. A reason? More like fact. There's a vault within Arkham City. And within that vault, loot, valuables, everything that one could possibly need. But what I need is this. Selena would slide a phone to Jinx, and on the phone there was a photo. It looked like a photo of a flash drive. Didn't seem special, but this contains the data and the funds for all the super criminals locked away within Arkham City. Of course, there's physical cash, the yen and dollars, things of that nature, diamonds, jewels, and whatever personal valuables they had. And to all of that stuff, you're free to do with as you wish. But this here flash drive contains all of the combined assets and everything that's been collected all in one place. How much is it worth? How much do you think it's worth? It's got to be a lot, isn't it? By my rough estimations, that flash drive contains more than enough digital funds to help privatize your own personal army. That much? Oh, yes. With this flash drive alone, you could overthrow a small country. That's the type of power I want to get my hands on. And what for? You make it sound like you're trying to make an escape. You should do the same. Japan hasn't been what it used to be, especially since All Might retired. You can't tell it now, but there's a change in the wind, my girl. A time when the monsters are going to come out to play, and when that happens, there will be no place to hide. But it's up to you. Will you take the job? As Jinx would close her mind to the flashback, she remembered why she'd come here. Her purpose. Staying focused, she would break into the museum, finding where Two-Face had been huddled up with his men. They were refortifying the area. He was already paranoid enough, knowing that Jinx was going to make a comeback for him. His men were located in one of the museum's rooms, making sure to keep themselves secure, looking out for wherever an enemy might strike. Two-Face stood in the center of the room, with gun in hand, all while his soldiers patrolled through the various levels of the room itself. "So what's the plan, boss?" one of Two-Face's men would ask him. "Now that we've got Cobblepot's territory, that's one less headache to deal with. Now, it's only come down between us and the clown. And that idiot blew up the bridges. He's trapped in the Southeast District. But we'll find our way. And besides, from what I've heard, the clown doesn't have too much time left. Once he's out of the way, we'll kill all the stragglers, and we'll absorb anyone that's left into our side. We'll build one united front, and then we'll set our attentions on the walls." The walls? Damn right. "He broke me." Huh? "He broke me. I know he did. He brought me here. He did. And I want payback. We both want payback." Brought him here? Jinx wondered. What did Two-Face mean by that? What kind of game was Strange pulling? It didn't matter. Right now, she had to get to Two-Face, take back the phone, get the schematics to the vault, and get out of here before who knows what was going to be coming next. One by one, she would begin to take out different thugs throughout the room. Thankfully, they didn't have heartbeat monitors, so there was no way of alerting Two-Face when any of his crewmen were taken out. Of course, though, Jinx got a little too cocky. After taking out the fourth man, it caused a commotion that caused everyone to be on high alert. Seeing as how there was no point in holding back, Jinx decided to unleash the full power of her quirk, Good Luck, Bad Luck, and in doing so, caused their guns to jam. It was effortless enough for her to take out the remaining goons, and then that left her with just Two-Face and herself. Of course, he wasn't one to go down easy, as he picked up a large lead pipe, ready to engage with her in one-on-one combat if need be. "You've been a thorn in my sides all night, you damn brat!" "I don't understand. What do you want from me? This damn phone. What's on it?" "It's none of your business what's on it. I want to know why were you after me and trying to take it?" "Why? Why? Why? Why was he?" Suddenly, the memories started coming back to him. He remembered now, yes. About 4 months ago, Dent was in his hospital room. After the whole incident with the acid in the courtroom in his face, he had a long time trying to get his personality back in order. He was at some resort place, hospital, not really a way of describing it, but it was a place for treatment, a place for psychiatric evaluation. Dent had long since been given a good, clean bill of health. He'd even undergone face reconstruction surgery. He had been on the road to recovery, but every now and again he checked in just to make sure he was doing all right. He remembered the day that the doctor came to his room. "Good evening, Mr. Dent." "Hello, doctor. How are you?" "I'm good. Thank you for asking." Where's Michelle?" "Miss Michelle will be taking a leave of absence. I will be taking her place. I've been wanting to speak to you for a long time. Your case has been studied by many around the world." "My case?" "Of course. The case of the infamous supercriminal known as Two-Face. Please don't bring that up. It all feels like a distant memory, a really bad dream. Yes, a bad dream indeed. You have been able to reconstruct yourself, make yourself whole, have you not? I have. It hasn't been easy, but I like to think that I'm taking it one step at a time, Doctor. Who are you again? Strange. Hugo Strange. I find the mind quite fascinating. And yours in particular. This other personality that you created. That I created? Yes. I wondered if perhaps you may have had a latent quirk awakening of sorts. Quirk awakening? No. I was born quirkless. I wouldn't have anything like that, and yet why do you demean yourself? Demean myself? What are you talking? I'm saying you accomplished great things as Two-Face. All I did was bring death and destruction, all because I couldn't keep myself in check. I deserve a whole lot worse than this, I know I do. And yet you sit here calmly. You enjoy the freedom that you do not deserve. Well, what? I'm sorry, what are you? You do not deserve to be here. This is a place for those who are trying to recover, those who still have a chance at a normal life. What exactly do you think doing all of this will accomplish for you, Mr. Dent? What will it accomplish? I'm sorry. Who the hell are you? Talking to me like this. You don't know anything I know well enough. Enough to know that this is nothing but a mere facade. A trick. That's all it is, and that's all it will ever be. Because deep down, you wanted to be Two-Face. What? I don't have to take this from you. I think we're done here. We will be done when I say we are done. Wait, what? Huh? Who are you? The door would open as two guards would hold Dent down, as Hugo Strange would walk around him, as he took a coin out of his pocket and began to flip it. Yes, Mr. Dent. Two-Face. Two split personalities. I've evaluated bipolar disorder. And do you know what I have come to the realization of? The other half is not another being. Rather, it is a rationalization. Two-Face is what you've always wanted to be. The other half of you, the ugly truth. You keep it hidden away. You keep it locked up. But you and I both know that deep down inside, becoming a super criminal is what you've always desired most. You just needed a scapegoat, a reason to give yourself an excuse to make you feel better. No, you're wrong. It's not true. No, I just wanted to. Then prove it. Take off the facade. Quit being fake. I will give you a chance. Let's see how rehabilitated you really are. The doctor would pull a vial from his coat and poured it on half of his face. Dent would yell in excruciating agony as the acid fell upon the left side of his face, once again scarring and burning him. All of that work, all of that, it was for nothing! You will forget we ever had this conversation. You will make a fine tool to use in my experiment. A syringe would be pointed into his neck as a chemical was injected into him. When you awaken, you will return, Two-Face. You will return to your life of crime. You will answer to me. When you arrive to Arkham City, your goal is to win the war. Defeat the clown. Defeat Cobblepot. Rule the city. And then get your revenge. Revenge. Yes. Against the Bat. Revenge. The Bat. Revenge. As all of it came back to him, Two-Face remembered. He remembered. It was Hugo Strange that did this, that used him like a guinea pig to fight in some meaningless gang war inside of a super prison. It was Strange. He did this. He did this to me. That mother... Calm down, please, Jinx would say. It's obvious that Strange has been pulling the strings on you. That's not right, is it? No. Look, I need to get somewhere. You want revenge on Strange. Maybe we can help each other out. Huh? I have a way of getting into the vault. That'll give you access to the main tower of Arkham City, won't it? The security wall, or something like that? What are you getting at, Pipsqueak? You have a whole army at your disposal, right? Why don't we raise some hell? Tear down these walls. You and me. I'm not an idiot. You just want to use me and my men to go do whatever you come here to do. It doesn't mean we can't help each other. After all, you want your vengeance? I have a mission to complete. And I've got more than enough power to help you out with that. We go hand in hand. Together. Fine. Let's make that son of a bitch pay. In about an hour and a half's time, Two-Face had gathered his crew together, all of them united under one banner. Of course, there were some that wondered why they were all called here, and even more so, why the girl who was considered on top of the hit list was now standing side by side with Two-Face? Listen up, everybody. It's time to commence the final operation. Final operation, boss? That's right. I know who the real target is, who we go after and who we take down. I think it's time for a payday, fellas. The people in the crowd began to cheer at that. Nothing wrong with a payday. Of course, Jinx would have liked to keep this operation to herself, but she only had one primary objective. That was to get a hold of the flash drive. Other than that, all the other bills, diamonds, jewels, and all the other things stashed away, that was fair game. And these guys were going to need a payout somehow. This young lady's gonna help us get into the vault. We are gonna split this city in two. And we're going to raze it to the ground. Hugo Strange is gonna pay for what he did to us. Yeah. In my day, we believed in getting even. Strangely enough, I don't believe our good friend Hugo understands how we operate. We don't take too kindly to disrespect and people who think that they can use and push us around. No. We get our pound of flesh, fellas. But we do things the right way. With that, Harvey would pull out a coin and a gun, placing it to Jinx's head. What are you? Shut up. It's time for a final jury. This coin will decide whether you live or die. Heads or tails. The other side goes to Strange. But after, this is how I operate. Take it or leave it. Jinx didn't have a way of using her powers. She took a deep breath and agreed. She would let destiny decide her fate. The coin would be flipped. Jinx chose tails. The coin fell to his hand and he flipped it onto his palm. Heads. But only Two-Face knew that. The crew called out. They asked what they were going to do. Well, what's the verdict? What are we doing? Are we raising hell or what? Does she die or the doctor? What is it, boss? He flipped and threw the coin into the crowd. It doesn't matter. I've already made my decision. We go after Strange. Everyone was in agreement, and Jinx was released. I make my own decisions. Me. Before long, they made their way to the entrance to the vault. With Jinx's expertise and with the use of her quirk, she was able to get inside and get it opened. Tiger guards would meet them, and the battle of the vault would begin. Two-Face leading his men into battle as they fought against the Tiger operatives. Hugo Strange watching from a monitor. So this is the final outcome. Very unwise of you, Mr. Dent. Yeah, keep talking, Four Eyes. Once I make my way up that damn tower, I'm gonna have 2 guns waiting for you, bitch. You will never get that far. You will fail at being a criminal just as you failed at being an attorney. Perhaps this is your crime for working with the Bat, for believing that you could make a change in this world. Foolish and idiotic to the end. As they continued on in their fight, Jinx would eventually find what she was looking for. However, as she was preparing to leave, a Tiger guard had her in his sights and took the shot. Two-Face pushed her out of the way, his body being riddled with bullets as he shot back and killed the guard in question. Dent! Dent, are you... Oh, God. You'll be all right. We'll get you some help. We'll just... An explosion could be heard on the outside. Protocol 10 had been activated. Throughout the corridors, she could hear through one of the walkie-talkies that Batman had been hit. What the... Two-Face saw the look on her face. The look of worry and concern. She must have known who the Bat was. So I guess you've been working with the Bat too, huh? Just like me. Why? Why did you... Because it was my choice. I made my choice. My own free will. Pay it forward. It's not too late to do what's right. With that, Jinx would try to help Dent to his feet. They would eventually make their way to the outside. The Tiger Guards having been overrun, Two-Face's men were able to get into the vaults and to get the loot that they had come for, although some worried for their fallen boss. A few of his men watching over him. She needs to get out of here. I can't just go after him. You know he needs you. You're the only one capable of getting to him. Help him out. That's my only request. Of course, it wasn't like he needed to make one. She would have gone regardless. Dent would lie his back against the concrete wall, watching the old Gotham bathe in fire and destruction, the wake of Protocol 10. I hope they can succeed where we failed, to make a better city, a better tomorrow. Perhaps what's been broken, it can be put back together. This concludes My Hero Academia: The Dark Knight Returns. What If Deku Was Batman? Season 3 of the Arkham City arc, OVA 5, Feeling Unlucky. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue with My Hero Academia: The Dark Knight Returns. What If Deku Was Batman? Season 3, Part 7. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.